Hi, this is Roger Conrad. I'm editor of Utility Forecaster. What I want to address today is some of the panic that we see out there, and as that affects our overall holdings, and then also a specific situation involving the Gulf oil spill that also affects some of our holding. Regarding the first picture here, we've seen an incredible amount of volatility lately in stocks that really have no business being that volatile. In other words, companies that are in industries that are very steady and that are reporting very, very strong first quarter earnings, indicating that they're cycling their way out, are seeing an unprecedented amount of price volatility. Of course, the higher yielding securities that we have are being affected the most, I would say, from the trust and the MLPs, but also the utilities as well. And, I just think that this is in a large part due to the fear in the market, due to the fact that maybe investors are still setting those stops a little too close to the price of securities. They're getting executed. They're getting whipsawed out of these situations. And I just want to tell everyone, please, look at how these companies are doing. You know, we made it through a pretty tough situation in 2008, holding on to companies that continue to produce good numbers, good business fundamentals, and good dividends. And in fact, most of these have moved on to higher highs in the last year, overcoming the catastrophic decline in the market in 2008 and much more. The problems that we see today are somewhat severe. You know, there's certainly a lot of things to worry about. On the taxation front, for example, are they going to pass a budget which will keep the taxes on dividends at a low level? Or will we see them go back to ordinary rates? That's certainly something a lot of people have been worrying about. But, if you look back in 2008, the worries were certainly a lot more severe. And we came out of those. So we'll come out of these. And again, as long as you're holding good companies and companies that have been reducing their leverage over the past year, as all of our recommendations have, you should be in very good shape going forward. I just want to give you a little, for instance, of one of the positive things happening. And in the electric industry, that concerns industrial sales. Across the board, these companies, electric companies, saw their industrial sales plummet in 2008 and even into 2009. Same kind of thing happening. But by the middle of 2009, things started to stabilize. And here in the first quarter, we're starting to see very favorable comparables. With Duke Energy, for example, seeing a 14% increase in its industrial sales coming from the Midwest. This is an area where a lot of people were very worried about before. Now it seems to be turning the corner. Also in the Carolinas, also a nice gain there. And again, this is just very much typical of what we're seeing across the board with the utilities. So things are actually getting better with these companies. In the meantime, they've taken advantage of low interest rates to refinance debt, push off maturities, bring down their interest costs. So if we are heading another catastrophe, if anything, they're stronger than they are before. And again, as the lesson of 2008 showed us, things did come back as long as they held together as businesses. So that's going to continue to be my focus going forward. Now, regarding a more stock-specific situation is BP. You know, those of you who've been subscribing to Utility Forecaster for a while know that I've been very high on super oils. I continue to be very high on super oils. Many of these are stronger actually financially than the majority of countries out there, and certainly more and more so going forward with some of these sovereign debt problems, even in the developed world. So very strong financially. They really have they don't control the sources of oil anymore around the world and haven't for some decades, but they do control the flow of oil. They're very well capitalized and they know how to take advantage of the various opportunities that arise. Companies like Exxon, for example, buying XTO and becoming a major player in shale gas. I think extremely bullish for that company. Chevron's ability to drill in various places around the world very effectively. All these companies are going to face a higher standard, I think, going forward as a result of the BP spill. There's not going to be a lot of passes given on offshore drilling if it's even allowed to occur in many areas. And in fact, it very likely won't be. We heard from the governor of California, for example, this week saying that he was reconsidering opening California to offshore drilling. Certainly the last thing any governor wants, and particularly in California, is another Santa Barbara style spill. So I think this is the kind of environment that we've entered into. Now, Who does that benefit? Well, it doesn't benefit BP. In fact, I think the stock may have stabilized here. They may be able to navigate their legal woes, but it's certainly not a place for conservative investors at this point. But the heavier burden does benefit larger companies in general, and including BP. And that's because, again, more expenses means only a smaller number of players will be able to actually do this kind of drilling. And in fact, it's become more and more technical, more and more expensive over the past few years. So that's already becoming the case. This accelerates that. And again, that helps the big boys that already have the market presence. It also helps anybody involved in the shale business or the oil sands business, and that includes Exxon, which actually operates one of the larger oil sands ventures up there, Syncrude. So again, there are always winners, and then of course anybody investing in oil, period, will benefit because new restrictions, problems with offshore drilling mean actually less supply coming on the market and a higher price for energy. So there are winners and losers here, and or winners as well as losers. My advice would be right now for a conservative investor to stay away from BP, but look to the other super oils. And I'll be featuring them in Utility Forecaster, particularly those in the portfolio such as Chevron. So that's all I have to say today. Thanks for tuning in. I'll look forward to chatting with you next time.